So here's my hypothesis. You are a useless time traveler. All right, let's build a hypothetical. It's the future. We got jetpacks, we got nuclear fission. Elton John's AI clone just announces yet another year of the farewell tour. Also, someone whips a lasso around the sun and accidentally 3D prints the world's first functional time machine. Unfortunately, some snot-nosed intern knocks over a vat of Crisper Cream coffee all over the control panel, ends up sending the darn thing to Lynchburg, Virginia, the most average town in America, according to statistics. What's the year, you ask? Well, I picked something familiar. Good old 2020. Turn of the decade, turn around of the century. I hope that comment ages well. Anyways, it's the soaring 20s here in Elberg, and our little looper machine has just plopped itself down in the corner of Danger Dave's adult films and a gutted Blockbuster, and some chump walking down the street trying to get mustard off his khakis stumbles through the open doors into the machine. We'll call our guy Gregford, and we'll build him a nice little Tinder profile. Let's say he's 26, college educated, studied communications, but currently works at M. Falcon Rent-A-Car next to the airstrip. He has no technical or vocational background and grew up on Toon Nick, Hot Pockets, and the exclusive influence of other statistically average white people. I forgot to mention, our young man is well traveled. Yeah, he took a family vacay in 2008, Daytona Beach, got hella sunburned. So back in the time box, our pre-melanoma hero hits a few buttons, pulls a few knobs, and beep boopity P Diddy, welcome to medieval Europe 1447. It's cool, right? You know, time travel's a banger. This is awesome. Except for the fact that our time machine is no longer here, and so our pal Gregford is all alone. All right, so what happens now? Where does he go? What does he do? Who does he talk to? What does he share about life in the future? Now that last question is actually what inspired me to make this video and ask this question. If any random person of at least average intelligence and knowledge is sent back in time, what influence could this person have over the rate of technological advancement? With all his ultimate wisdom of life in the future, his 2020 vision, how much impact could Gregford actually have, like globally speaking? Well, in my ultimate wisdom, I would say none, or close to none. He doesn't know enough, no one will listen to him, and he'll probably die quickly. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Gregford is useless, but I would say that's true for you as well, or for anyone, probably. In this hypothetical, you are you, like just you, with no extra resources, no books, no money, no tech. You're just sent back in time anywhere in the world. You don't have any time to prepare before it happens. It's just like, bam, you're there. Also, this is a parallel but exclusive timeline, so there's not going to be any issues with time travel paradox. For those of you who would tear this video apart from that angle for no reason, that's not what this is about. So my perspective at the moment is that the average person, while able to communicate to some degree about all the technology that simply exists in the future, could not explain in a meaningful way the science or the engineering principles required to create or develop a fundamental understanding of said technologies. For example, one of my main employable skills at the moment is digital video production. Every aspect of what I do is only made possible because of years and years and years of scientific discoveries, innovations, and culture. The DSLR that I'm filming this on, the camera lens, the LEDs in my light, I mean, the editing software that I use, the computer, electricity, YouTube as a platform, it goes on and on and on. I know almost nothing about how all of these technologies actually technically work, and even less so about how one would go about engineering or reproducing them. You can't always feel it in your day-to-day life, but there's an entire infrastructure of compounded and condensed historical knowledge that basically underpins our society. It's what enables your quality of life. It motivates your very perception of reality. Like, I could tell you how great modern medicine is, or electricity, or plumbing, or computing, or Chick-fil-A, and certainly I could theorize the implications or practical uses of these technologies, but to break down the science behind the functionality in a way that communicates the engineering principles, like, there's no way. I couldn't do that. Now, this applied back to our hypothetical is exactly why I think that we would be useless as time travelers. We're just so high up on the tower of human knowledge that we have just little to no relationship with the older bricks that built the foundation of the very structure on which we stand. But of course, that's only half the story here. So Gregford walks into the town tavern, orders a mead or whatever they drink during the time that isn't dysentery water, and sparks up a little chat with the local barber and gets into this conversation. Yeah, we got this thing called a smartphone, and you can use it to connect to 4G LTE. So if you want to like call your friend Tyler or play Fortnite, or use the Bluetooth connect to your pre-owned Honda Civic to blast Lil Pump's Harvard Dropout, or use like the GPS to get to the nearest Taco Bell. In 1447, this makes no sense. Also, I don't know why I gave Gregford this voice, just in my head, that's how he sounds. At this point, you might be thinking, wait a minute, our character Gregford sounds like a total doof, which he is. What about the people who are at the top of their field in disciplines that deal with fundamentals? Brilliant engineers, doctors, physicists, chemists, botanists, baristas. Yes, of course, the keepers of the keys. You know, I'll agree with you. Give them an audience and they could probably make the biggest impact. The problem, unfortunately, hangs in that answer, given an audience. How does one go about doing that though? You know, like who's gonna believe you, or better, not kill you for countering the current school of thought? Take for example, germ theory of disease. Total game changer. Also, an idea that does not require a scientific understanding to be effective. But could you get physicians of the time or those in power to actually listen to you or work towards making that idea a widespread reality? Probably not. Also, imagine trying to challenge the church. Have fun. I will be here blissfully working in the fields, cultivating peas and oats, and not doing that. The whole thing is tricky, even for the best of the best thinkers and communicators. I mean, pick anyone you want. Edison, Bell, Einstein, Gates, Bezos, Musk, Jane Cookright, Bugs Bunny, Donald Trump, Ethan Hawke, one of the Queen's corgis, or Flat Earth Hitler. Send as many back of these as you want, but at some point, what can they do if no one will listen to them? They are useless, all of them, just like you, probably. So to support my argument even further, I have compiled a non-exhaustive list of other barriers that I could think of that would prevent you from being effective. Now, if you can think of other stuff, by all means, please put it in the comment section down below. That'd be great. All right, so quick Q&A. Are you a man? Check. Is the dominant culture of the area cool with your natural hue or cultural classification? Check. You got both those things? All right, great, come on in, happy to have you. Oh, what's that you said? You're a woman? Or you don't check that other box? Huh, well, let me see. The next slot we have open for your voice to be heard is going to be, and I don't have a list with me, so I'm just kind of spitballing some numbers here. It's gonna be hundreds and hundreds of years from now. But even then, sometimes it's gonna be like, So this shouldn't come as any big surprise to you, but most of history has been on the pay-to-win mobile gaming model. So both literally and allegorically Clash of Clans. If you had wealth, then you had power and you had influence. So in our hypothetical, when the Airbus drops you on the map, you've got no coin. You are a BAB, and that's going to increase the difficulty of your game by quite a bit. So you might have been thinking that like a brilliant engineer doesn't necessarily need an audience to build new things. I agree that's true. However, he or she will need materials or tools to make all those things possible. And depending on when or where you go, certain materials or tools will be limited in supply, if in existence at all. And procuring those materials or tools might prove to be an impossible task due to the other constraints of the time. So basically, is science a thing? It's the classic question of, if I try to share this, will they accept it and want to work with me on it, or will they burn me alive at the stake? So no Google Translate or dominant world language will make transmitting information to other language groups quite difficult. But even with a language tool, it'd probably still be impossible due to the extreme lack of context. Moreover, is your native language even spoken in the time that you are traveling back to? If not, it's basically game over. Even our pal Gregford, who will be sent back to the time of Middle English, which he will more or less be able to understand, will still have to translate the full context and semantics of modern English. Not to mention teach a tremendous amount of new vocabulary to just give even the most basic technical foundation to share ideas. With no trains, planes, or automobiles, traveling around to get materials or to find people who will listen to you will be extremely difficult and extremely time-consuming. So Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1440. So our pal Gregford, who is in 1447, which is an arbitrary time that I picked for this model, might be able to capitalize on the printing revolution. But if you go back any further than that in time, you're gonna have a tough time spreading your ideas to the masses via paperback. So there's also that small little tiny thing of, I don't know, dying before you accomplish anything. I mean, you've got so many things that could kill you. There's the rampant spread of disease. There's a lack of modern medicine. I mean, if you think about it, life expectancy averages for most of history were not great. And I think it'd be silly to assume that you wouldn't necessarily be, included in that. So I think variations of this hypothetical are essentially endless, and I'm so curious to know what you're thinking about all of this. Now, to keep the ball rolling a little bit, here are some other questions that I've thought of regarding this whole topic. When and where in history would be the most difficult for this challenge? Are there any sweet spots in history when and where your chances of gaining an audience and making a big impact are optimized? Similar to germ theory, what other common information not requiring a scientific or a technical understanding could be the most impactful? What if you still get sent back with no belongings or tech, but you had 6 months to prepare? What would you focus on learning? What information would be the most valuable to have? If you could order 10 things off of Amazon and have them shipped to your destination somewhere in the past with the goal of increasing the rate of technology, what things are you ordering? So finally, if you could have a solar-powered tablet with all of human knowledge on it that had pictures and diagrams and translators and all that jazz, how much would that actually change the equation of your effectiveness? All right, well, that's everything that I've got for you. Thank you so much for watching. This is the first time I've made a video like this, so I'm very, very curious to know your thoughts on this topic. So please leave a comment, go to Reddit, or just go somewhere and get involved in the discussion. My name is Austin, by the way. I don't think I said that at the beginning of the video. You can follow me on Instagram at almostaustin, and you can subscribe to Outer Space Productions for hopefully more videos like this in the future if all things go well. Have a great life. I hope this gave you something fun to think about. Bye.